Hey, it's Ben, and this is Drambo by BeepStreet. This video is going to be about something really fun that you can do, like punch-in style effects, actually using keys. And right now, I'm using this on a master track. So it allows you to tap a key, and it will, if nothing else, mute the dry signal, which is what's on layer 1. But then you can set different keys up to kind of become active, or open up a VCA with some effects before it. And I'm using the note filter, so I can do things like turn on like a chorus effect while holding down the key, or do things with like EQ and saturation. Just something like reverb. Sounds really nice. And then what I really love are these like stuttery effects with a delay. Yeah, so I'll quickly walk through how to set something like this up. And if you don't want to set it up yourself, they're both on patch storage. So just like a template for punch in, and then specifically a stutter effect that's already ready to go. So I'm going to start from scratch. All right, so now I just have a blank master rack, and you can hear the signal going through it. So I'm going to open my module selector, and I'm going to go to processor and add a processor rack. This is basically just like a container for any kind of effect. And you can put an instrument in here, but it doesn't really make sense to do that. So it's just an empty rack, and I'm going to add, under mixers, a layers module. And these layers are going to be basically mapped to different keys, and that will allow us to hear the effect that's on that layer when you hit a specific key. So on the very first layer, I'm not even going to put in any other layers yet. What I'm going to do is add, this is important for your dry signal. You need a gate inverter, and then any kind of amplifier, but I'm just going to do an ADSR amp end. And we will also need, more importantly, or equally importantly, a Midi to CV module. So processors are set up really just to process signal, and it doesn't assume that you're going to be doing any sort of playing the effect with your keys or triggering anything like an envelope. So we need to add the Midi to CV. But now that it's there, when I play it, it just sounds normal. And that's because the gate inverter is inverting the gate. So now when I tap down on a key, it's going to close the envelope. And then when I take my finger off the key, it's going to open the envelope. Close, open, close, open. So that's what a gate inverter does. If I took the gate inverter away, I'd have to hold down to hear anything. But that's not what I want. I want a gate inverter. So the gate inverter is under miscellaneous utility. And it's a really cool module. You can set it up to play a sound when you release the keys, and then have something else happen after you release. But we're going to use it to act as sort of a mute on the dry signal. And you might want to name your layers, which you can do. You just tap into the layer number and then type in whatever you want. So this is just our dry signal. And now I can add another layer. And nothing's going to happen other than, it's going to be muted. And when I tap any key at all, the dry signal is going to be muted because there's no note filtering. It's responding to any key. So for any of my other chains, if I want them to respond to a specific key, I'm going to need to use, under Midi, the note filter module. And then I will also need a Midi to CV because we're going to be using, in some cases, we'll be using an envelope, and we'll want it to respond to a gate signal. So now all we have to do is set a specific note, and I usually just start from C, middle C, it doesn't matter what you do, but it's always there on the keyboard. Okay, and we don't have anything here. So if I, at the very least, I'm going to put in an amp. And you can play with like even how quickly the sound comes in, so that's kind of fun. So now, if I tap on like any of these, I'm still just muting the dry signal basically. But if I tap on C2, you're not going to hear anything really. If I do like a really slow attack maybe. So all it's doing is triggering an envelope, or an amp envelope, and the sound's coming through when we tap the note that this layer is set to. So now if I want to add an effect to it, I just put it before the VCA, or after. I can put like a chorus. So it's almost like this seamless transition between the dry signal and whatever other layers you have on here. You could also have like a really slow release of the envelope if you wanted it to like trail off or fade in almost. Sounds kind of nice. But then it goes back instantly. We can change that too. So it's like a nice fade. We're holding down the key, and then it goes back. I kind of like the really quick sound. Let's pause this for a second. So basically do the exact same thing for any, you can copy this if you want different layers. You just hold down on the like module header and then stretch over it or whatever you want. Copy, paste, and then you just change the note. So now we have another one on C#. Now for the stutter effect, which is so much fun, I just love it. You use a delay rack, and I like to do it with time. I think it works better with time. So if we just had the feedback up all the way, it's not going to sound great because the sound is always coming through on the delay. And if I have the feedback all the way up, that means it's basically just building up this signal. And it's looping over and over and over and over again because it's at infinite feedback. And then when I open the gate, you can hear it, but it's, that doesn't help anyone. So we need to do a couple things to get this set up right. So I'm going to turn my feedback all the way down, and then I probably will turn my wet and dry signal up. So I want to stop the sound from coming in to the delay rack. So all I need to do is go to processor, add some VCA, doesn't matter which one, whatever one you want. And then now, when I hold down, I'm not going to get that horrible sound. I can turn feedback all the way up, but feedback's still up. It's still looping and looping and looping. So what we really want to do is map our feedback, or modulate feedback with the gate signal from the Midi to CV and turn it all the way up. So if this works correctly, what we should hear now is do it a little bit longer so you can hear it. So now it is like a perfect loop for our length, whatever our length is. It goes up to 2.5 seconds, and it's only going to take the sound that just came through the envelope when I hit the key down. So it could be like a really abrupt little tiny sound. Almost like percussive kind of, or you could do like slower attacks and like nice smooth. You could have sustain on the envelope if you want it there, and you'll constantly let sound in. I don't think that sounds quite as useful. So that's punch-in effects. You can do very similar things with the morph sliders, but it can be hard to remember what's set exactly to what morph, and it's a lot of like just setting things up. This is something that you could just save and have ready to go. It won't be as useful if you have it on any individual track because it responds to notes. You could probably map it up to one of the sequencer modules if you wanted it there. But the other cool thing about it is that you can also record it because it responds to notes in the sequencer. So I'm just going to extend the pattern a little bit. And then we can record. So now I could have different like recorded effects, whether I'm using this for like a live performance or just within, like as I'm, producing something, messing around with something. And it's p-lockable. So like and then I don't know, that's pretty much it, I guess. So the key is that you have a processor layer, or a processor module with a layer module within it. On one layer, which is like your dry layer, you just need a Midi to CV with a gate inverter, so that it's sort of like when you're not pressing any key, the amp envelope is open, and when you are pressing a key, it closes. And then the opposite of that is on your other layers. You use a note filter to get it to respond to a specific key. And then you have an envelope that opens when you press that key, and then put whatever processing you want in that track. Okay. Again, these are links. The patch storage links are there in the description. But you can download them from patch storage and have it already set up, or you can just build it on your own.